Okay, hi everyone. So I nearly paid $120 a year for one feature, which is taking highlights from the books I read and automatically organizing them inside of Notion. But then I realized that I'm already paying for some extremely capable AI tools, so instead of buying another subscription like Readwise, why not I build it from scratch? And it actually works. So in this video, I'll show you how I can convert highlights from my books into a Notion page so I don't have to, so I will never forget any book that I read. And this tool is built with Codex, and I did not buy a subscription for this, except for the Codex one, of course, but yeah. So let me show you how the website looks like. The Libby website, Libby to Notion website, so there's a CSV file where you upload your CSV file, and then the title, there's a preview, and you can create a Notion page from there. So in this video, I will be showing you how I built this, how AI helped me to build this tool, despite being a relatively new programmer, and also the Notion API problem that nearly stopped this entire project. Because what is important that I learned from this project is to make the AI that you're already paying work for you. So, onto the project. So, the feature that I really wanted is I read so many books on Libby because of the free books. I don't have to buy any books on Kindle. But every time I read an interesting idea, I highlight something, then I will just never see it again. So, I was thinking to myself, like, what is the point of reading books and highlighting them if I'll just forget them the next day? And I wanted to solve it. I wanted a way of transferring the highlights from the Libby page onto Notion so that I will be able to review it regularly. So that is how the project came about, is highlights that don't vanish. I want to be able to organize them, think about them, and also connect different ideas together. So technically Readwise can handle this very well, but for a $10 a month subscription, each year it will amount to $120, which as a broke student, okay, I cannot afford this amount of money every year. And to be honest, I'm just going to be paying for that integration. So either pay for $120 a year or build it from scratch. And I went for the build from scratch one, obviously, because I'm not going to be paying that much money every single year. So the next part, finding the gap. How can I export data from Libby? So that's a question where I had to answer, and after some tinkering, I realized that Libby already exports a CSV, has a CSV export function. So yeah, that means I don't have to do any other like integration with Libby. I can already download it directly. So that made the workflow very, very simple. I just have to export things from Libby, upload it to my website, preview the CSV file, make sure that the CSV file is not corrupted, click a few buttons, and hopefully I will have the Notion page in my Notion workspace. And for those who are interested, I will show you how you can export things on Libby because I think this is not very clear. Okay, so I think this works for any other books that you have borrowed before. I'm just going to go to Atomic Habits because I have borrowed this before. Go click on Reading Journey, click on Actions, click on Export Reading Data, click on CSV File, and then click on Highlights. So once you click on Highlights, it will help you to download that CSV file onto your laptop. This workflow, it sounds really simple, but actually it is not that simple. Because I realized that, okay, AI does not work well with very vague instructions. I have to break down the task for it step by step. So basically the steps broken down is just one CSV file in, preview the file first, then do some CSV processing, so group the codes by the chapter. So each chapter will have its own toggle, and under that toggle will have the different codes for that chapter. And I also don't want duplicates. I want it to have messages that will pop out when there's a failure, and I just want one clean Notion page. So yeah, So the specification actually matter a lot, because if you have a vague instruction, you don't break it down for AI, the AI loves to complicate things, so you will get a very messy and ugly app, or just a complicated mess. So I have been there before, so it actually took a few tries to get it right. So the most important thing is to define the target, define the end goal. Okay, now on to the UI part. So the project is actually built with Gradio. Because Gradio is very simple, I don't have to build the front end or the back end. It's automatically done for you. You can literally build a website with Python code. So I highly recommend looking into this framework if you haven't already. And just to show you the app again, the app has three main parts. It has a CSV part, a book title part, a preview part, and you click a few buttons to upload the file on the Gradio app. So that is the web UI portion. And now onto the hardest part of the project, which is the Notion API wall. So what I didn't know about Notion is that, I tried uploading a CSV file with over 300 rows. That means 300 different codes in one book. But Notion has a 2,000 character limit per block, and you need every minute or something, you need you can only make a few requests, and if you exceed that request, it will not allow you to make more requests. So if you hit the API limit, there's like a cooldown, and I can no longer create that page. So this is where it got a little bit tricky. I have to do a little bit more research using the Notion API, and I have to ask the AI, do a little bit of back and forth. So I worked through this with Codex and change the workflow a little bit. So how do I survive this? Basically, instead of sending all of the codes all at once, I'm going to batch the codes. So I'm not going to send everything at once. I'm going to send maybe like 10 to 20 in a single batch, 10 to 20 in the next batch. Have a little bit of cooldown between them, and make sure that the codes are split into chunks of 2,000 characters only. Retry if it fails. Make sure to give it a little bit of cooldown, and continue from the remaining stop point. If the retry pass, instead of going all the way from the first code and restarting over. And also, I don't want people to spam the button whenever they import the codes into Notion. That's why I have to disable the button once they click on Create Notion page. And this taught me something very important, is that, Codex or Claude Code can generate the code, but does it actually work? Does it actually solve your problem? These things are the things that you have to test extensively. And yes, even though AI can generate test code like I have experienced, but you have to really test it to check that does it actually meet your needs and requirements. Okay, so now let's watch the final project run. So I'm going to go over to the Gradio website. Here I am at the Gradio website. Let me just upload the CSV file. Okay, so I have uploaded the CSV file. I'm just gonna name this like Atomic Habits Full Codes 11 July. And click on preview, and it will analyze, process the CSV file, and show you some details about the CSV, which is quite helpful. And then create Notion page. And notice when I click on create Notion page, I cannot click on it again. And okay, so I run this previously, and the whole thing completed in 40 something seconds. So hopefully it will take about the same time to process everything and add it to Notion. Okay, so it's done. Let's click on the link to see if it brings us to the Notion page. And yes, it did. I think it did. It succeeded. And okay, you can see that this is something that I added that I specify in the code to add every single time, so that I can reflect on the book that I've read. And yeah, each toggle has the chapter number, the name, and I will get all of these codes, which is just so satisfying to see. And I will hopefully never forget any book that I read in the future. So yeah, all of it looks pretty nice. And yes, So did I actually replace Readwise? Well, the obvious answer is no. Readwise has a lot of other features, but what I did was I just pick up the feature that I would have paid for, and I tried to use AI to build the feature for myself so that I don't have to pay the subscription fees. So the point is that you shouldn't be building the next Netflix, you shouldn't be building the next Spotify if you actually find value in that subscription. What you should do is to take a hard look at your expenses and your subscriptions and see which subscription you actually need. And can you build the features that you are using in that subscription yourself? Will building this subscription teach you something in the process? Maybe teach you like a few coding skills. And is it worth maintaining? Because you also have to maintain the website, make sure it's running, make sure the tools are up to date and stuff. And so for me, I think this is absolutely worth the trouble because the feature is actually relatively straightforward to implement. And I can also host it on Gradio for free. So yeah, sometimes paying will still be the correct answer. Sometimes you value the subscription because of the convenience like Spotify, but if you're already subscribed to tools like ChatGPT, maybe you can consider building it and save some money in the process. So the final takeaway is that the project helped me to avoid taking on another potential $120 of yearly subscription. But more importantly, it changed how I think about the AI tools that I already pay for. So the value is not just in the content, it's about what it helps me to build, what it helps me to make. So let me know in the comments what you decide to build next. I would be really happy to see what you are building next, and subscribe because I would be covering more of the AI related projects and some of my own stuff. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.